What is up, RetroManiacs? Welcome to the Retro Card Chat Podcast. My name is Mike, and I'm from Mike's Retro Trading Cards, and you're not. And I'm joined by two guys that are cheaper than the concessions at Augusta National, Joe Day and EP Arc Palick. How you doing, boys?
I didn't even hear the second part of that because I was laughing from the first part.
I just said you were cheaper than the concessions at Augusta National.
Oh, are they actually cheap? We went to the U.S. Open a few years back, EP, and they were not cheap there. I do remember that.
No. It's kind of the Masters thing. They're I think you can buy everything on their menu for $18 or something like that. Yeah, everything's really cheap. Sodas are like $1. Yeah, they do that on purpose. Yeah.
I thought at first I thought you meant $18 for each thing, and I'm like,
no,
is that where we're at now? Is that cheap? But no, you're saying the entire menu you can get for $18. That's cool.
And the drink is the Azalea, right?
You can get those drinks, yeah,
which are relatively cheap, just gin and rum, that sort of stuff.
Let's go.
Crazy. All right,
we can't.
Let's do it. We can't. It was
they only
yesterday.
let certain people in.
Oh yeah.
Are you claiming that they wouldn't let us in? I mean,
we do have great memories there when we used to play there all the time. I remember the first time I took Joe out on Augusta National. He hit a 5-wood on a par 3 to like 3 inches, and almost had a whole
or it was Cherokee. It was Cherokee.
Maybe I don't know.
It was Cherokee golf course. Yeah. One of them basically.
I don't remember.
I was Sergio Garcia-ing and Tom Weisskopfing all over the place. Just balls in the water all the time.
Did Sergio ever throw a club in the water?
No, probably not. I don't think so.
And it stuck straight up.
Straight up.
Fantastic.
Just out of reach. Just couldn't.
It honestly looked like if you walked past and didn't know that was a golf club, you're like, oh, they must be measuring the depth of the pond. Because it really did, the way it just stuck right in there and up. I'm like, that pond's really. I mean, you could have gone in at EP. It wasn't that.
Oh, sure.
The alligators,
right? The Pennsylvania alligators.
Those Pennsylvania alligators.
Sometimes I wonder to myself, I wonder what the Brouses thought when, like, whoever was like at the end of the day when they're going around and picking up this everything, and they still like,
EP
man,
must have played
EP must have been EP.
Picture that, like, who was the guy that was standing there shaking his head at Happy Gilmore like this? I can't remember who that was.
Yeah.
Somebody
was like
it?
Lee Trevino.
Yes.
Thank God.
So I picture somebody there like this when they saw it.
Yep.
I'm sure they did that a lot at us when we were on the golf course.
And then the one time we actually didn't do anything wrong is the time we got yelled at by what's his name?
Bob.
Remember Bob?
Yeah,
we went he sent us off the wrong hole or something, and he came out and yelled at us. I'm like, whoa, my man.
Yeah.
Chill out. Yeah, he was very upset that day.
So what's new and exciting, guys?
You may have noticed I am in a different orientation here. I don't know if you picked up on that. No, this is not, those are there's my blinds right there. This is not a permanent situation, but I have been working on, there's a bookcase behind me. I've been working on my reorganization of my binders. And I needed to move room out so I could get my fat ass back there and put them in the bookshelf. But I'm like almost halfway through. It's going to take weeks though. I wasn't really doing the hard ones this week. I was doing some of the easier ones, but it's going to be a tough slog. So you're going to see this for a couple of weeks. When I'm back in my normal spot, you'll be like, he must be done with his binders. So
I actually like the look of it. The way
but could you get like a Mike's Retro Trading Card blind?
Yeah.
Like a neon one or something like that.
What's funny is people are like, what? People have asked me, what are those? They're peacocks, because of course I'm a peacocker. I'm peacocking all the time, baby.
Yeah, you sure
peacocks.
I like being able.
Bleep yourself.
Yeah, can you? That's too early in the show.
Yeah, that's way too early into the show.
Shortened form of. Whenever I watch a show on Peacock, I always say it's on the cock. So
it's on the cock.
Yeah.
I never thought we'd be saying that word that much early on, but okay.
It's a bird. Just a bird.
You're at work, you're like, I just watched it on the cock last night.
Yeah. I even have my wife saying it now, too.
Oh, no. Funny side story, though. My friend, there was this John Cena movie about his kid was going to the high school prom or whatever, blah, 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 blah. And she thought it was named Blockers. I go, no, Kate, it's Cock Blockers. She goes, no, it's not. I go, what do you think the bird is in front of blocker? What do you think they're implying there? Her innocent mind had no idea that it was cock blockers. So there.
If people all around South Carolina can walk around wearing clothing that says cocks on it, I'm sure we can say it on YouTube. I don't see any problem.
I hope so. Because we're referring to, of course, the Gamecock.
To a peacock. No, we're referring to the peacock.
We're referring to peacock.
They're referring to the Gamecock.
Yeah. So. Speaking of cocks, EP. What's up with you?
Well, I do say I like seeing all the comics. I like seeing the Star Trek. I like seeing like everything behind you. I kind of like the angle. So if you decide you want to keep it, it's pretty cool. So I like
just have to lean like flipping Steve here, lean over so everyone can see the pit logo from time to time.
So I have a little bit of an update for everybody on the
I like
multi-card listing situation.
Wait, let me get my coffee.
Okay. So we talked about how on like eBay was going to be start cracking down on the multi-card listings, and I was like, I have multiple listings that are multi-card listings. I haven't heard any complaints. They haven't been delisted or anything like that. But this week when I was listing cards from the again 2023 Upper Deck Marvel Allegiance Infinity Trilogy, again, try to fit all that on an eBay title line. But so I was listing a card.
EP's buying subtitles at this point. Like he's buying the additional title for like $2 or whatever it is.
Will UD fit? Can I change Upper Deck to UD? Do I have to drop the 2023? Can I drop Allegiance? What do I do? So anyhow, there's all that sort of stuff. But one of the parallels for that, and numbered to 99, are the purple boxes. The purple boxes parallel, and what it is like similar to like Panini stuff, where the background has purple boxes in it, and they're like shiny, refractory. But I tried to list it and said, you can't list this because it's making it sound like you have multiple cards in this listing. I was like, okay. And I tried it again. Nope, you can't do it. And then I was like, okay, well, I was looking at the thing. I was like, is it because it says boxes? Is because there's a plural word in there? Took the ES off, just made it purple box, and it went through. So like literally, like they have some AI in there saying, oh, this is, you can't put this word boxes.
So you were listing this as a single card.
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to tell you what actually happened here.
Okay.
You had it. Your category was single card.
Right.
You have like if you are listing multiple cards, like a lot, not a multi-card listing, but a lot, you have to change it. So it thought you were listing a lot.
Okay.
I've had that happen too. Yeah.
Because that happened to me so many times where I started to list a lot. And it said, but I forgot to change the category from single to lot, and it flagged it. It's like, whoa, you're listing more than one card. You have to. So I don't think it had anything to do with the fingers crossed.
Okay,
that it didn't have anything to do with that. I think it thought it was a lot that you were offering, but you had not changed the category to a lot. So that's my thinking on that one. By the way, I never put Upper Deck in my listings when I would list Fleer Ultra Wolverine.
Oh, really?
So yeah, I would never if it couldn't fit. I wouldn't.
Well, when the first thing I did was try to change it from Upper Deck to UD, and then if I had to take out UD, I take out UD. That was the first thing I would always try to cut. Yeah. So, yeah.
All right, I have a little bit of a public service announcement, if people don't mind, because I had a little bit of a situation last week, and I feel like I need to share to prevent this from happening to our viewers or listeners. But I just had my big Baseball Mania stack sale last weekend before we did the podcast, last Friday and Saturday. I'm off on Friday, so I was working a lot on getting ready for the sale. I was just doing stuff. Recently, the hard candy sprees? They're like a movie candy. I was like, I haven't had those in a long time, and I like those. So I bought like a box of multiple movie boxes of that from Amazon, and I got that, and I've just been enjoying some here and there. Well, when I was working on cards Friday and Saturday, I probably partook in quite a few more of these because it would, yes, Joe, I do separate the colors too before I eat them.
I don't even do that.
I was thinking of you every time I did it.
I don't do that. It's weird. Anyway, okay.
But I ate quite a few because they're just hard candies. You just throw them in. You're just
how many is quite a few? Give us ballpark.
I don't know. I ate pretty much most of the box
right.
in each day, so maybe 1.5 boxes over the 2 days. Then Sunday, after we got done, talking, not recording because this is live on Monday. But I ate a couple, and my tongue hurt. And I was like trying to eat them. I was like, oh my God, like, why does my tongue hurt? It really hurt. So I'm like, did something happen to my tongue for me? So I looked it up. Yeah. Turns out that sour candies have a lot of acid in it, and they can actually burn your tongue, which I have been dealing with like for a week now. It's almost better. The front of my tongue is still a little numb and like doesn't taste quite right because anything you drink, you eat, you're using that. The sides, I think that's where you taste the sour is on the sides of your tongue.
Yeah.
They're better now, but they hurt like hell that first day or two.
Yeah.
And so if you're old like me and you decide you want to eat spree candies, just be careful. Don't eat too many of them because you can burn your tongue literally. Yes,
I was going to say, don't eat like 3 boxes.
I didn't eat 3 boxes. It was 1.5 boxes.
Did anybody have like on their bingo card Mike burning his taste buds off of his
sure as hell didn't.
Freeze of all these? Yeah.
I'm getting to that age where I have more ridiculous things happen to me that shouldn't happen to me. Remember when we went to the National, how I couldn't lift this arm up and like kind of had a pinched nerve? Well, apparently I did that to this arm the other day, putting a jacket on. I just like reached back to put my arm in the hole and like felt this twinge. And then for like 2 days, I couldn't sleep at night. It hurt so bad. It's better now, but yeah.
60 is
so
rough, man.
So did the sprees fixed your shoulder? But burn your tongue? No? Okay.
I think the pain from the tongue distracted from the pain in the shoulder is what
that might be. I don't know. But just don't do it. That's a public service announcement. I know everybody cares. And it's card related because I was working on cards.
Yeah.
I'm saying if you're going to eat sprees, be mindful of the number that you're putting into your body. You don't want to ingest too much of that at once.
Don't ingest too many sprees.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah. One other little piece of business. I don't know whether or not by the time you watch this will still be the case, but right now we are over 2,000 subscribers.
What?
Yes.
Seriously?
2001 finally.
Man, go ahead, EP.
They say it's like a small town. Likes us enough to click on subscribe, right? Like a small town somewhere. Yeah. It's a lot of people.
I wish we had some way to celebrate this momentous occasion. I wish. EP,
I can't think of anything.
I mean, maybe some champagne. I don't know. Let me get my champagne flute.
I got my flute's a little not very small either.
Yeah, I haven't drank on the pod for a few weeks. I've been just kind of trying to rejuvenate the body a little bit. But for special occasions, I'll have a bottle of champagne.
I didn't get the memo. Why didn't anybody tell me? I got some champagne.
I said on the text thread yesterday.
I don't remember that.
And Mike was like, "Don't jinx it." He was very concerned about it.
I am.
But as of now, I'm pulling back the curtain like EP on Fridays, right? As of now, the year of our Lord, April 13th, 2025 at 11:55 a.m. we have 2001, aka the Ric Flair of subscribers. So here's to you. Cheers. Let's get some champagne.
That's coffee. I had a real strong sense of deja vu as you were filling that up with champagne. Did we do this before?
Yeah, for 1,000.
Okay.
Because I made the joke that, oh look, I'm gonna have a little flute of champagne, and then I threw the flute. And it said,
I do remember
we need this.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, A big thank you.
Right?
Yeah, you did have a Miller highlight. Yeah.
Thank you though to everybody.
Yes.
And I don't get it, but I'm very thankful that people have chosen to subscribe to our channel and watch our content. Who knew? 3 years after we started this that we'd have 2,000 people watching this.
I feel like it's once a week we make this comment in our text threads to each other. Like, I can't believe that this many people like our videos, watch our videos, subscribe to our videos, and like it's just it's insane. Like, it is just absolutely insane. It's very, very cool. I love it.
And you know why they like to watch us, EP? Because we give them good content, like the stories we have this week for you. Let's get into it. There we go. There's a transition for you. I wish they gave awards for that.
Yeah.
I don't want this YouTube Sports Card Hall of Fame crap. I want the YouTube Sports Card Podcast Transition Awards. And I feel like I could clean up at those. What do you think? Let me know.
No, I don't know if we can call it that in this day and age, but yeah, I like where your head's at.
The Segway Awards.
Segway Awards. Yes,
okay.
I like.
I think your word was a little charged there.
Only if you make it. Only if you make it. All right, let's get into it. Oh, PSA. We seem to talk about them a lot on this show. They announced this week, though, that they are increasing the turnaround time, and they have a price increase going into effect for trading card games. This is starting to feel eerily similar to back when we were first getting in the hobby. Joe, you having a little PTSD there?
Triggered.
Yeah, they are now going to change the value bulk, and trading card bulk from 45 days to 65-day turnaround time. And the trading card game bulk price is going up from $16.99 to $18.99. I believe, didn't they just recently raise it to $16.99?
Yeah, I think it was like 15, wasn't it? Was it like $15.99?
And they had run, first of all, you ran a whole bunch of specials for trading card at like what, $13.99? I feel like it was that way for months.
Yeah.
So you kind of maybe created some of this problem. I don't know, but here we go. We're starting to get backed up at PSA. Sounds a little familiar.
Guys, I mean, I don't know what because of the PTSD, I didn't hear any words you said after that they're going to take longer. What was the number of the bulk? Did you say, Mike?
What was the number of your days you didn't have your cards?
8,256. Yeah.
It's going from 45 to 65 days.
Yeah, get at me when it's like in the hundreds. Like you're still doing okay. To your point about the specials thing, it feels like they got all these Pokemon folks addicted to grading, right? Like, we're gonna bring these people in at $13.99. Now they're addicted. So now it's time to jack up the price. I'm sure there are some ancillary benefits, like they take a little bit longer. People might not submit everything, so they have some time to, push back the schedule. But it's kind of like the, why'd you need the two things? You either raise the rates to slow it down, or just say you're going to slow it down and keep the rates at the same. But they're doing both because that's corporate America. Right there, right? We want as much money as we can squeeze out of you, and we're going to take our time getting those cards back to you. So, this is the specials, the GameStop thing. Let's not that's not nothing. Like, the GameStop thing, I think, really has affected these numbers, and at this point, it's not too bad. Once they start pushing it further back, like, I'm very interested to hear people who have submitted cards and they've gone beyond that 65 days. I want to see how many of those stories we start to hear, because 65 days, I was going to say, in the grand scheme of things, isn't that long. But if you're grading something that has a shelf life, if we were talking about grading one of your cards, EP, and I know it's not a Pokemon card, but there are certain time frames that you want to get that card back for, right? I suspect Pokemon probably has similar type of things. Before the new set comes out, I want to get these previous set cards out that are graded. So while 65 days in the grand scheme of grading stuff in your PC isn't that big of a deal, if you're grading things to sell them, 65 days is quite a long time. Things can change a lot in 65 days.
Yeah, it's 65 business days, right? So I mean, it's not like it's just 65 days. It's not 2 months.
That's
Like
a good
it is.
point.
It's way more than 2 months. And like you said, Joe, Pokemon has there's the actual meta game of the game, the actual popular decks that are winning at tournaments and stuff does drive popularity of cards, and so that does play a very big part in it. I feel like on the surface, these changes are seem like a panic thing, but I'm leaning toward Joe in that the bottom line is adding $2 to the price isn't going to change very much on it, right? Like going up $2 isn't very much.
Not going to stop people, yeah.
No, right, and but the increasing 65 days probably also not going to stop people. So they're giving themselves more time and making more. Like you figure $2, yeah. I mean, you figure out the $2 per card at the volume that they're grading these cards at right now. Like that is going to be actually a massive amount of money they're going to get.
Okay, I'm going to bring this up, and I'm going to ask the question: is Pokemon killing sports cards? Might seem preposterous, might seem a little ridiculous for Mike's Retro Trading Cards to say that, but I have some data here and stuff I want to bring up to try to make my point here. PSA has graded their grading numbers in February. They were up 49% in 2025, February 2025 over 2024. They were up 56% in March of 2025 over March of 2024. There were 822,000 trading card games cards graded in March of this year. There were only 629,000 sports cards graded in March of this year.
I'm putting only in quotes, by the way, there, Mike.
Oh no, yes. It's crazy because last year it was almost the opposite. It was 822,000 sports cards were graded and 516,000 trading card games. And so it has flip-flopped. One of the big stories coming out of this that people really aren't talking about is, yes, there's a popularity in grading of Pokemon, but those numbers going down for sports cards, the football class was way better this year. Mm-hmm. So it kind of surprises me in March where, you have baseball coming up very, very shortly. Football just finished, but you had a good rookie class, basketball going on. Like the numbers of sports cards going down is really quite surprising to me. They're down 16% in 2024, March of 2025 over 2024. The trading card games, and this is mostly Pokemon because it's fueled by Pokemon. Even CGC was up 48% in March of 2025 over March of 2024. I see all the time too people complaining about going to card shows, and now
I was going to bring up Bargain Boxer,
yeah, but it's not just him. I see it all over Twitter. People complaining about how they want to go buy sports cards and then they get to the show and half of it's Pokemon. And I understand Pokemon's popular, and I'm not saying they shouldn't be allowed to have their world, but when it's kind of taking over the sports card world, happening in grading, it's happening in shows. And a lot of the people that have gotten into the grading, let's be real, a lot of those were sports card people that couldn't just buy stuff, send it in to grade it and make money. Oh, but you can still kind of get Pokemon, even if you're buying it on the secondary market and is more expensive, way cheaper than a hobby box of crap being put out by Panini. Their lowest brands are more than a Pokemon box is. So a lot of people that are doing it have jumped ship to do it because this is a way for them to still make money. Joe, you mentioned the GameStop thing. That is bringing all kinds of new people into grading, and they're mostly grading Pokemon, not sports. So I think an argument can be made that Pokemon's kind of pushing sports cards out of the way for the time being.
I specifically, and I know you've mentioned you've heard it other places as well, but I specifically want to mention Bargain there because he has posted that on our comments quite a few times that he goes to card shows and he feels like he has like 2 tables to look at cards, at sports cards, and the rest is turned into Pokemon cards. And the most salient point you made, Mike, was the idea that these folks that were investing in sports cards, it's like, well, either they're getting priced out or they're seeing the next big thing, or maybe they created the next big thing, that buzz.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going towards that because, again, at the end of the day, I'd love to know what percentage you guys think are just pure collector is such a, stupid phrase, but like primarily collectors versus people who are just getting into something like Pokemon to just open and sell it. So like that has to be, and I feel bad for the Pokemon actual collectors, like the young lady who was on that hobby documentary. She makes Pokemon content. She was the only hero. So if someone's rushing out to get Pokemon, it sounds like a Danville.
Do you have a monster there? A Rancor monster?
Right. Jesus Christ. But, the only hero of that terrible documentary was this young lady who collected Pokemon cards. And she's finding herself getting priced out of that market because sports card people are going over there. So to answer your first question, if people are putting money into sports, and people are still putting money into sports cards, Paul Skeen's card went for $1.1 million recently. So we're pumping the brakes a little bit, but if people aren't buying sports cards and grading, and I think grading is a great barometer of where the hobby's at, right? Like if people aren't grading as many sports cards, that means they're not quote unquote investing in sports cards as much, because if you're investing in sports cards, they're sending them off to be graded, right? And they're moving that over to Pokemon. Will it kill sports cards? I'll tell you what, everything I just said now, a true collector, someone like Bargain, is sitting there going, this sounds amazing. Not the people taking over card shows, obviously, but the investors leaving, and it leaves more and better cards for true collectors to go and get, because maybe those investors are leaving that space a little bit more open for them. So it's a catch-22 a little bit. You get annoyed by all the Pokemon folks at the mall shows and things like that. And I'll be in Danville for the next card show that EP will be setting up. Maybe you might be setting up too, Mike. I don't know. I'm curious how we'll talk. But it'll be interesting to see how many Pokemon, because you guys even mentioned there were a lot more Pokemon there than had been done before. It'll be interesting to see how that shakes out. And I don't think it'll kill the sports card hobby, but for this moment, I don't know how long this moment will last. It's definitely pushing them down a little bit, because until they find the next thing to invest in and make money off the backs of collectors on, God, I hope it's not Star Trek cards, but whatever it is, they will move on from this eventually. Maybe they circle back to sports cards after a little while. I don't know.
I'm going to answer Mike's question first. I mean, I think killing it is probably taking a little too far. Like it's not killing it. As all of Joe's points, I feel like,
but it makes for a great title.
It's sure,
great title,
absolutely, 100%. Yeah. I think
it's going to get someone fired up, like, for sure.
The bottom line is like I actually was like scrambling. I need to get this piece of paper to write down all these notes. Well, first off, like I feel like this is like the asteroid has hit on Panini, and the Panini is like on its last legs. This is all brought on by Panini, by the prices of their cards, the prices of their boxes of cards, and that sort of stuff. That has changed the hobby. So now people aren't buying boxes anymore. They're looking more to the Pokemon side of it. I really think this like the drive for the Pokemon because sports cards are overpriced. And not that
only Panini makes sports cards.
Listen, Fanatics is also the prices, but this was started by Panini, but with their overpriced Prism cards, that sort of stuff. So anyhow, that's a big part of it. I listen. I'm not going to defend Fanatics. You are the rated rookie. I'm not going to defend. He's wearing a Panini shirt. Yeah.
I'm representing.
But I mean, like Fanatics they just followed suit. They're just doing the same thing that Panini was doing. But I feel like that Panini kind of started the ball rolling on this in this regard. I feel like for the talking about the shows, like the bottom line is there should, if there are more Pokemon people at the shows, that there should just be more tables at the show, right? Like if the problem if they are replacing the card show, the sports card people, it's because sports card people aren't making their money, or because they don't just don't want to do it.
Can I make a point here real quick? I think it's not that they're replacing the sports card people. I think sports card people at card shows, because you kind of do it too, EP. are getting more into Pokemon. I think sports card dealers are like, oh shit, I need to put Pokemon is what people are asking me about when they walk through this mall. I need to get Pokemon. So I don't know if they're replacing them. I think those sports card dealers are supplementing their sports cards and now becoming Pokemon dealers at card shows.
For sure, but there are also way more, like there are people that are just Pokemon. There are way more people that are sitting as just a Pokemon dealer. I don't mind having Pokemon cards packs to sell at my table because they do sell. People are going to buy them. If you price them right, they're going to buy them. But I feel like there are a lot more actual dealers that are just all Pokemon. Like we're talking the ETBs, the hanger, like all the different kinds of the different SKUs they have, and they're selling them, and they are the busiest tables at the show. For as much as the sports card people want the sports card stuff, I mean, if like I've witnessed it myself, there are just lines and lines of people standing at these Pokemon tables, and if that's what the people want, I mean, like that's what a lot of dealers are going to do. My last point is I agree with Joe where like it's the flipping mentality. There are a lot of people that were in this, and Mike even said it too. People who were in it for investing, people who were in it just because they're here to make money. They're going to shift to Pokemon, and that is what we're seeing there, where people who care about sports cards and people like us who are are looking for football cards, like this is a good opportunity for us because you're going to be able to. There's not going to be as much competition for the cards that are available. I think the prices, you might not get as good of a prices in some cases, but I feel like you're going to be able to. You're just going to be less competition for you to get the cards that you want to get at shows.
I have a question for both of you about this. Actually, do you think the people that are went from sports cards to Pokemon are kind of the same people who went to and kind of bastardized Marvel cards? Like the same people are like, oh, sports cards are a little expensive. Let's go and get some Marvel cards. Are they just looking for opportunities here and there? Marvel was huge. Remember, before Pokemon, Marvel was massive with people setting up at shows and having a lot of non-sports and specifically Marvel. And I've kind of said DC could be that next thing as well. Do you think that there's some crossover there?
That might have been the case a little bit, but I think Pokemon is like times 100. Like it's way more. Like it's because I mean Pokemon was accessible. I think their stuff coming out recently has been a little bit more expensive, but like it's more accessible price wise. And I feel like that's.
And I don't mean the collectors. I mean the people who are like trying to take advantage of the collectors. To bad way to say it, but that's kind of how it feels.
As somebody who sets up his shows, EP, let me ask you this though. I know last time I was there, because of the number of Pokemon dealers, I was walking around like this show's not very good for me because I want to buy baseball cards and I have fewer people to buy it from. Like they really if they're pushing out sports card dealers, it's not going to be good for people like you. If you're like,
I disagree.
I feel
I had my best
I disagree with your disagreement because I buy a lot at the local shows, and when I'm leaving a show going, man, this was just not fun because there were too many Pokemon dealers, that's not a good thing. I'm putting a lot of money in, and I have a feeling there are other people there that are feeling the same way. So unless you're going to all Pokemon, you're going to become the sports card guy that gets into Pokemon. I feel like that's a dangerous thing if you're pissing off the people who want to go to a sports card show to find sports cards and they get there and it's half Pokemon.
As one of the half the people that are selling sports cards though, like I've had the best shows that I've had in the last couple shows that I've set up at. And this is with the Pokemon people there, because if there are people looking for sports cards, they're going to end up at my table, and I have my cards priced, I think, relatively reasonably. And so I sell them. I mean, I give people deals and stuff like that. I feel like it has helped me with my sales because there are fewer people out there selling the kind of stuff that I sell or whatever. That's what I believe anyway.
But if the number of people drop off that are attending the show, if that drops by half and then there's half as many dealers, you're not going to really be in any better of a position. Like that's what I'm worried about. I'm not saying it's happening yet, but I just remember that was the first show out of all of them I've gone to that I felt there just aren't enough sports card dealers here, for me to find stuff to buy.
You know what? Be the solution. Set up at the next show yourself, Mike.
Oh shit. He's gonna bring Pokemon cards just to
part
piss
of
you off.
Pokemon and Magic. Bring your Pokemon and Magic from.
I have a couple of Pokemon left. I might bring from Rob stuff. So I agree with both of you, right? So on the short term, I think you're right, EP, because you are one of the few people who are probably 98% sports cards, right? I think you're one of the few people there that are that much in sports cards. So in the short term, as people keep going to the shows, I'm going to go to the sports card show at the mall. Oh, there's only 4 or 5 tables of sports cards. They're going to spend money at your table, but they might not come back. So long term, that might be the issue, where it's like you kind of have to hope to convert a Pokemon collector into buying sports cards. We see it going from sports cards to Pokemon. I don't think we'll ever see it going from Pokemon collectors to sports cards. You know what I mean? Like that feels like there's reasons for that, right? The investment thing and blah, 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 blah. But yeah, you're never going to see that flip. So I think in the short term, you'll probably do really, really well because you're one of the few tables that are doing mostly sports. But to Mike's point, he'll always go to the show because he'll always bring you coffee and he's a great friend like that, right? But if it's mostly like the equivalent of Mike that's not friends with one of the dealers, may not go in the future if every time they go, it's more and more and more Pokemon, you know? And we're all non-sports guys, so like the Troys of the world, he still might do fairly well because he does non-sports, and I could see more crossover between Pokemon going to and picking up some non-sports stuff versus Pokemon going and going through your 50-cent baseball cards, for example.
Yeah, and I feel like there's a lot more. There were already things I was interested in seeing what happens in 5 days or 6 days when we have the show on Saturday of Easter weekend, and because it's the holiday weekend, because of what's going on in the hobby right now, because of the amount of Pokemon table, the growing number of Pokemon tables that I've experienced at the shows, and the people that are buying the Pokemon stuff. Like, I'm very interested in seeing what happens. Will there be twice as many Pokemon tables? Will there be a second Magic the Gathering table? Like, who knows? I'm very interesting to see.
That table was packed too with the show.
Wild, right?
Magic. Crazy. It took me like 2 or 3 times past it to even tell what they were selling, because there were people like 2 or 3 deep from one end of the table to the other, and I had no clue. And when I found out it was Magic the Gathering, I was like, "Whoa!"
There was a great bit on Saturday Night Live a couple of weeks ago where the New York people just like to wait in lines for the new big thing. And like, I can imagine, Mike, there's a line over there. What could that be? And he's like,
I was curious. I thought maybe put in there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and it's kind of funny. I think I mentioned this to you guys. I was getting my teeth cleaned a couple of weeks ago, and my dental hygienist was like, we somehow got on the topic of trading cards. And she said, "Oh, my husband got back into cards." I go, "Oh, what's he collect?" It was Magic, because he collected those as a kid. So those are huge. And I go, "Oh, was he into that Lord of the Rings set? That's what got him into it." Remember, we talked about this, that Lord of the Rings kind of crossed a bunch of different, collecting lines, I guess. And Magic is pretty big too. We talk about Pokemon, but just TCG in general is huge. And if there's a whole table of Magic and then there's a line like it's the new iPhone, whew, you might be the only sports card dealer at that show, EP.
I would look forward to that. That'd be great. I should actually
for a couple of weeks. Right.
You'll
see what happens.
then I'll be a Magic and Pokemon table after that.
All right. Well, you may have noticed I'm wearing my rated rookie shirt because I'm representing Panini. EP in the last segment took some cheap shots at Panini.
His usual.
And when they're done, they're on their way out. I beg to differ, because this week news broke that Panini not only signed 1, but signed 2 of the biggest names in this year's NFL draft class. They signed Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders both to exclusive autograph deals. There weren't any terms announced, but in the Panini press release, they said they're anxious to help them out this year and in years to come, which makes it sound like at least a multi-year deal there. I'm obviously Panini is putting money into signing these guys. They're not planning on going away. Kind of interesting. I want to ask you guys, do you think that maybe Topps kind of created the blueprint for them.
Yep.
They saw the
100%.
Topps Chrome and they're like, oh, so, they signed away all these rookies to exclusive autograph deals and then made an unlicensed set, and they're doing pretty well with it. I guess we could do that. Let's do that to them. So Panini is now Fanaticsing Fanatics.
I'm going to take it one step further, Mike. Fanatics laid the blueprint of poaching top draft picks for exclusive deals and screwing over the collectors.
Mm-hmm.
I said it then with Will Levis and was it CJ Stroud and who is the other quarterback? Bryce Young. I said it back then. I'll never forget it because I was in a hotel in Bloomsburg for some reason, probably a holiday. And I said then, this is terrible. This is terrible that they're signing these. If you're a CJ Stroud, if you're a Texans fan and you want a CJ Stroud autograph rookie card in his Texans uniform, you can't get it because Fanatics did this. And I think it was, I thought it then, and I think it now, it's horseshit. And it's terrible. And I feel the same way about Panini doing it, except they're doing it in retaliation, and I'm fine with that. Like
they still have the license too.
They still have the license.
Year,
so they're going to make actual rookie cards of these players for this year. So if you are a fan of wherever those two players get drafted, you got to be happy, right? You've got to be happy. And I didn't say this in our text thread because I kind of wanted to. No, I did say this in our text thread. While Shedeur Sanders is a really good get, he's a quarterback, so we get it. His cards are going to have value. Hunter, and I always want to say Justin Hunter, and that's not correct. Travis Hunter.
I want to say Torrey Hunter.
Do you want to say Torrey Hunter? For some reason, I want to say
player.
Justin Hunter, who was a wide receiver, I think, for the Titans.
Chiefs? Oh, maybe
the Titans, I think. But anyway, Travis Hunter could be the biggest non-quarterback that we've had in card collecting for since quarterbacks became the end-all be-all, right? He could be it. The dual player thing that he has, he could be EP puts players in the Hall of Fame early. I do not, but he could be a Pro Bowl player on either side of the ball. It really sucks for us fantasy football people. We're like, do we draft him? Because sounds like he's going to play cornerback a lot more than he's going to play wide receiver, more of a Deion Sanders model, maybe a little bit more wide receiver. But regardless, he is someone who is going to transcend that whole only collect quarterbacks thing. I really believe that. I think he could have a huge amount of popularity. Will he fulfill it? I don't know if he's going to be that good, potentially, but who cares about actually fulfill? Look at Justin Herbert rookie cards. No one cares about fulfilling your abilities and, making playoffs or anything like that. So I think signing him by itself was huge. And then to get his teammate, the dual autos, hell, sign Deion. Have a triple auto of those guys. I mean, they could do some really, really cool things. I'm happy for collectors for 2025 products that they'll be able to get Shedeur and Hunter in their pro uniforms and have autographs.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Like the thing about Hunter, I think it's more difficult to find a shutdown corner than it is to find an elite wide receiver. I think there are a few of those out there, so I feel like he probably ends up leaning more toward that. I agree with that 100%. But I feel like you said, Joe, this is a perfect opportunity for them. Like if they wanted to create a set, right, just as a set based on a player or on a duo of players, this is the perfect one because of what they were able to do at Colorado. Like this,
they're going to have a college set, right? They're going to have a
yeah.
specific college set for them, I think.
Yeah, like I wouldn't be at all surprised if they did that. And yeah, I feel like for as gross as this is, and we talked about it being gross when it was Stroud and all that sort of stuff, it is brilliant on Panini's part, and it is like Fanatics is reaping what they sowed, right? Like the bottom line is they started this mess, and so here we go. Like I mean, Panini is smart for doing this. Like this is just a smart move. Like why not do it?
I want to say I'm going to push back on the gross thing a little bit, just because they do have the license this year. Mm-hmm. They're just protecting their flank at this point. I think Panini, knowing if they didn't sign these guys to an exclusive, we're going to lose them. They had to do this. This wasn't let's screw over Fanatics. if they didn't do this, these two players would be Fanatics exclusives. There's no doubt in my mind that they would be. So I don't think it was, I'm correcting myself saying it's retaliation. I think it's just protection at this point and kind of protecting their flank. Now, next year, when they don't have the licenses, that would probably be closer to retaliatory, retaliatory, I think. Right? Is that the word?
Retaliatory. There's a
retaliatory is what I'm going to call it from now on.
Yeah. So, but I think there's my one thought is the terminology on the announcement was for this year and years to come. It makes me.
They probably had to do that. EP.
I think
they probably had to sign him for multi-years. I don't think Shador and Hunter would have signed a 1-year deal.
Well, no, I wonder if they didn't. And I feel like if there was a multi-year deal, they would say we signed these guys signed for years and these guys signed for 3 years. And I wonder if they're saying like we want to have them for 1 year, but we really want to have them for more years. Like we hope to do it for more. And I wonder if
it didn't read that way.
No, it didn't read that way. But I kind of see where you're coming from, EP. But I agree.
Forward to supporting them in their rookie year and the years to come. So and the thing is, they saw Top selling an $8,000 a box product based on one person. Mm-hmm. So they're probably like, you know what? We could still sell Flawless. We could still sell National Treasures. We sign a couple of these guys and get a couple other guys in there. We'll be able to get $5, $6, $7 grand a box out of this stuff. And because it's a breaker product, that's the only place you can autograph, especially, this year it's going to be huge, obviously. But I think they can continue to do this. And I have a feeling this won't be the last people you see. Good for the players now that there's actually competition in, people that want to sign you. They're going to make more money off of it. Bad for us. We're going to have to pay more for it, even if it's unlicensed. But yeah, it will be interesting to see who from next year's class they sign. They could sign them now, though. That's the crazy thing. Like you can still sign the guys to multi-year deals that are in college and have them for when they come out to the pros. So
Arch Manning. I mean, come on. Like he's going to be a pro here in a year or two. I wonder how long his Panini deal is. And if I'm Panini, I go up and re-up it right the F now and sign his dad, his uncle, his grandfather, his other uncle. I mean, could you imagine a Manning Flawless? If they're going to do a Wemby or what was it called? Wemby Mercury?
Mercury, yeah.
Why wouldn't they do how awesome would that product be? I know you don't like Panini EP. I would watch breaks of that all day, every day, watching Manning on Manning. I think that would be a really, really cool product. Panini, I know you watch this program. Go for that. I think that would be a killer set.
They should. Okay, well, we like to joke around a lot on this channel and we like to have a good time, but the next thing I want to talk about here is a little more serious. And we're actually being serious. We're not acting like we are. We're not. So there is a problem in this hobby that not many people talk about. You don't hear about it. Apparently, there's not a lot of ways to get help for it. But hobby gambling addiction is a real thing. I know Dustin, Sports Card Dad, did his video and he caught a lot of flack for it, actually, from some people. But it is a real problem. And I'm not sure if I didn't realize how big of a problem it is. I didn't realize how deep of a problem it is until, Joe, this week, we had one of our viewers reach out to you and tell you a little bit of a story. They've been buying too much. He was okay for us to talk about this. We won't mention any names, but this viewer had been buying too much and he realized he was buying too much. And he tried to reach out to eBay to see if there was any way that he could opt out. They could kind of suspend his account for 3 months to give him a little break from doing this. You know how it is, Joe, with the gambling sites and stuff in Pennsylvania. You can opt out. You can go to the sites and opt out. They won't let you do that. You can budget on the sites that you can only, transfer so much money into your account there. They have all kinds of measures because it's regulated.
And let me add one little caveat to that. if you go to a brick and mortar casino, as it were, and you are self-excluded, they will arrest you. You are breaking and entering, or whatever the terminology is. Trespassing. Thank you. Yeah. They will arrest you and have you removed from the premises.
So, he was telling us his story we sent us the chat log of talking to eBay. And I know you guys felt the same way. I was frustrated reading it because they were kind of like, yeah, there's nothing we can do about that. You need to like talk to your bank or something. It's not our responsibility, basically, is what they're saying. And his point was, you suspend people all the time. Can't you just do this to my account for a certain amount of time? I don't want to delete the app. I don't want to lose my account, which if you want to come back to it, I totally understand. You want to keep your account there. You don't want to just get rid of it. So it was a little surprising that with all the things they have in place there, they don't have any way for people who are buying too much to opt out for a little while. So I decided to look around a little bit online. I went to Fanatics Live. I wanted to see maybe if they had something like that. Fanatics Live doesn't have any way to opt out of using their app either, other than deleting the app, deleting your account. They do for their sports book because it's regulated.
They're legally obligated to, yeah.
Yet they have this other thing where people are spending money and people are getting addicted and spending way too much money and getting into a lot of financial troubles by doing this. But there is nothing. You can opt out of receiving emails and receiving different marketing thing and them selling your data, found all that stuff, but there is nowhere to opt out. They don't even let you, if I have this right, deposit money into it so you can kind of budget yourself, like, okay, I'm going to send $100 in, that's it. Like everything's just purchased, kind of like you do on eBay. It's coming out of an account that you have linked to it. Then that made me wonder, I'm going to search online about, sports card addiction. And I sent you guys a long Reddit thread about somebody who got in a lot of financial difficulty by buying into breaks. And then the comments, there was just a huge list, hundreds of comments after, with so many other people sharing the story. People called it financial cheating on their wives and stuff, like spending all this money and causing problems down the road. And I was just taken aback by the number of people who commented in there. I know I've seen it on Twitter before. There was one not too long ago where the person spent like $200,000 on breaks and people didn't think it was real. I'm telling you, it's real. It's a problem. Real. And then I decided to see if there was any way to get help. And I searched in like help for sports card addiction. I got one hit on Google for anybody that helped. There is a place online called Birch's Health, and they have a section about that. And they said they treat it just like they treat like sports betting. It's a gambling thing because you're getting a dopamine high when you're running in breaks. And that is what keeps you wanting to come back and get that feeling. And it's exactly the same if you're betting on games and stuff. So there they are, people who do this for a living and treat people. They're saying this is exactly like sports betting. It's gambling. Yet, other than that one site, there was nothing, literally nothing out there that I could see. I don't want to be too dramatic, but these companies, especially Fanatics, when you're running a sports book to begin with, I feel like you have a little bit of responsibility to the hobby to maybe at least put something into place. If I want to say, I don't want to spend any more than $200 a month on this, let me somehow limit that through the app. And there will be people out there going, oh, just do it yourself. They don't understand what it's like. And Joe, you can speak on this. Mm-hmm. If you have that craving to keep going back for more, it's not that easy. You can't just go, okay, well, then I'll just spend $200 and I'm done. I am just shocked and I'm appalled by the lack of thought put into this by these multi-billion-dollar companies that are letting people do this and creating ways for people to financially ruin themselves or ruin their lives and have big issues, just the same as if you were sports book betting or going into a casino and playing blackjack or playing a slot machine. The feeling you get from doing it's the same, yet for some reason, it's just the Wild West. My long rant is over there, but
I'll tell you what, we were joking a little bit at the beginning how you deserve a award for segues. You deserve an award for that introduction to this topic, because that you hit everything on that one.
Thank you.
And I will say, personally, and I've talked to you guys about this. I'm self-excluded from casinos. I'm self-excluded from online gambling. And for me, thankfully, thank you, to whatever higher power you believe in. Thank you that it was not a financial issue. It was a time issue. Like, I was probably going to lose my relationship for the amount of time I was spending at the casino. Sure, I'd either break even, lose a little bit, or win a lot or whatever, but I'd be at the casino for 8 hours, 10 hours, because you get that dopamine hit. You're just so, like, you just want to keep it going. You're having such a good time. And for people out there to say, just stop, you're assholes.
Yeah.
You're assholes. Just stop taking that drug. Just stop. I joke, we're drinking champagne now.
Right.
Just stop picking up that bottle of beer. Just stop eating. Just stop shopping. There's addiction is a thing, and gambling addiction is one of the biggest. And we talk in the abstract so much about things that ruin the hobby. Like, I can't believe they put out this product, or these people aren't signed to exclusives, and we're not going to get their cards with their logos on. We talk about all these things that are ruining the hobby. This is the thing that's going to ruin the hobby, because you're ruining individuals. So when our friend sent this to me, and I read the transcript of eBay, basically, first off, they had no clue what he was talking about. They had no clue. It didn't register with them, because they're a business. Their customer service people know they're a business. They're trying to make money off the backs of everyone. They are. And for them to be so like blasé about it, just stop, or call your bank, or do something that we're not responsible for, that was frustrating to me. And I remember texting you guys about this earlier. Like, I was so angry reading that, because I can't imagine being in that situation where I was the one that had to. I'll tell you what, when I self-excluded, like that, it was like that. Like, and Rob and I were like, let's see if you can sign up. Nope. Like they know. they know, because they're regulated. And we talk about regulation needing to come to this hobby for so many different reasons. This is the number one reason regulation needs to come to the hobby, because people are ruining themselves. And, our friend financially, you talked about lying to wives and things like that, and spouses, Mike. He had to do that. Like, his wife does not know he has the debt and cards that he has, so it's, and I'm upfront with Rob. He knew how much time I was spending there. That one you can't hide. But if I was like, I'm going out with friends, or I'm doing this, or I'm doing that, still lying. I'm still, might not be a financial lie, but it's a time lie, right? So people, and Dustin got a lot of flack for coming out and saying, I'm addicted to spending money on cards. It's a real thing. Like, addiction is a real thing across the board, and no one is talking about it, because they either think just fix it on your own, rub some dirt on it, get back in the game, right? Or it's, well, I mean, they're a business. They have to make money. Yeah, sure. Casinos are like, sports books and casinos are the two most predatory things we have. Yet they run a 1-800-GAMBLER ad in front of every one of their sports books, in front of every one of the commercials that they pay for. There's a reason for that. They have to do it, and I really do think that sports cards, either Fanatics, whatever they're breaking, Fanatics Live, I'm sorry, whatever other ways to buy on Fanatics. They should be doing something. eBay should be doing something. By the way, being a shopaholic is a real thing too. It's like this joke that was in like Kathy cartoons and in newspapers. You know, oh, she's a shopaholic. That's a real thing too. So to go on eBay and just run money up, it's going to catch up to you eventually. So for us to see this in person, not literally in person, but for us to like be a friend of ours to be affected by this, it really opened my eyes. We kind of already knew a little bit, but it wasn't really put in front of us. Mm-hmm. And once it was, we're like, we need to talk about this. And you said this in the text thread, Mike, this might be the most important thing we talk about on this podcast.
Absolutely. 100%.
And I agree with that. Yep.
I don't think we've talked about anything more important than this, because it's not a upfront thing. People don't realize it. And like,
no one wants to talk about it up front, by the way.
No, they don't. Yes, it's kind of, you want to keep it hidden, just like any other addiction like that. But thankfully, I don't have this issue. So like, to hear somebody we're closer to give us that firsthand account really makes you start to think. And that's what people in the hobby need to do. Yep. Like, a lot of people don't have this issue. So you just think, just stop. Like, but for the people that do, it's not that easy. And you need to think about what it's like to be in their spot and what it might be like to have to deal with this and go through it if you're them instead of you. And then you can start to realize, yeah, there's a big problem. And the fact that nobody talks about it is kind of crazy. And
Jeff Wilson is not talking about this.
No,
and
he's
that's not even shade on Jeff Wilson, because no one will, but he is the voice of the hobby. Someone like, if Jeff Wilson talked about it, it would mean so much, because he is, I always jokingly say, when you Google sports card YouTube content, he's going to be the one that pops up. He needs to talk about this because it is such an important issue, but he breaks on Fanatics Live. He has a card.
Yeah,
I get it. He's never going to talk about it, but it's frustrating. Someone does. Someone with a bigger voice. We have 2,000.
We get 300 to 400 people listening to this podcast. Maybe 500 or so with the audio podcast, but that's our reach. So
that's our reach. Someone bigger than us needs to make this a real legitimate thing. So, and that's why I gave Dustin kudos when he did that on his channel. And again, he got a lot of pushback, weirdly, but to expose yourself like that is tough. It's painful. And for someone to be able to do that, I give thumbs up to them, but big names in the hobby need to say, this could start to be a problem. It's a problem now.
Yeah, I mean, I apologize if I ramble on, but I feel like we could talk about this for an hour.
You're allowed, because Joe and I just did.
Yeah, we've been rambling on forever, so it's all you, EP.
Yeah,
I just feel like we could talk about this for an hour. We could do an hour-long show. We could have people come in and talk about this, and I feel blessed. Like you said, Mike, I feel blessed that I'm able to. I mean, back in 1999, I spent too much. I put a lot of money on credit cards. I put cards on credit cards. Yeah. I definitely did that, and I would still say that I possibly could do that. But I feel like I'm blessed that I can compartmentalize and think to myself, well, I can't buy this now because I don't have the card money for this. Or I can say, you know what, I got overtime this month. I can buy this box of cards. Yeah. Where I think about those things now. Where reading these things, like, it's devastating. Some of these comments in the Reddit thread and the conversation we were talking about, this eBay conversation, like I was infuriated a couple times. Where they have you have no idea what I'm talking about. Well, I'm going to send you to somebody else. He talked to like 3 different people, and then he's like, I want to talk to a manager. They're like, well, you can't go any higher than me. I'm like,
this is the highest, right?
Yeah, this
unless
is the
it was Mr. eBay, get someone higher.
And we've already told you 3 times, so I'm going to end this chat.
Right. And he asked another question and then shut off. And I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, I would have been so infuriated by that. There's so much stuff. The Reddit thread. There was a guy who was talking about how he was lying to his wife, lying to his family, and like if you, this is just one tiny thread, and he said about there's like hundreds of comments, but then there were like every comment had like 4 more comments, people saying, I'm right there with you, brother. Like I know what you're going through. Like, so again, like I feel blessed that like this is a huge problem out there, and I like the guy who was like lying to his wife. Like what happened was nothing would have happened unless like her credit score took a hit because the amount of money he was spending. And he said he almost lost his wife and kids on it. Like, and this is a serious problem. The first thing I wrote down for this was that like sports cards are gambling. Like you could argue back in like 2003 and 1999 when when the boxes started going up in price and the big cards coming, like the LeBron James rookie started coming out. You could argue then that maybe the things should have been regulated then. Think about it then with some of that stuff. But
Can
now
I just interject something?
Yeah.
Breaking is way more gambling.
I was going
than
to say,
just buying a box of cards. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I stepped on your point there.
Sorry.
But
I want him to say the point again for the people in the back. Sports cards are gambling.
Yeah.
Period. Full stop. I mean, there are some nuance there, but at the end of the day, you're 100% right, EP.
We buy cards. We think, okay, well, this is going to go up in value. We buy a box of cards. We break it because we think we're going to make money off of this box. Maybe we get that autograph or whatever. And now with the amount of price, the price that cards are, it's costing so much more, and it's costing people more. But then, like you said, Mike, when you enter in the breaking side of it, like you are ramping up the gambling side of it. Like maybe it was back in 1999, 2000, like it was like even gambling versus actually enjoying the hobby. But now the gambling side of it has just
Fanatics Live is just like a online like sports betting site.
Yes.
Like in effect, like the way they market, the way it's set up, the way you can go do different things and spend money. Like it is so similar.
Free bets, Mike.
Yeah.
They don't call them bets.
No,
but you get free sign-in bonus and things like that. You get free credit
if they're not making tons of money off of acquiring new people.
And again,
making addicts. They are making addicts.
Like you both said, they are preying on people's addictions. Like it is a very predatory thing. It is scary to think about. Like we talked about a while back about Pokemon killing sports cards. Like this is the thing that might like Joe said, this is the thing that might actually kill this hobby because of how maybe it'll never kill it. But it will, like you can see it, the regulation coming in
a lot of lives.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line to it. Yeah,
and
go ahead, Joe.
I will say it's kind of weird to even say it like this, but like luckily for our friend, he actually bought he wasn't buying into breaks. Thank God. He wasn't buying wax. Thank God. He bought things that he could, and he acknowledges could sell. I don't think he's gotten to the point where he's like, I should sell. That's a decision he and his family need to however, but that being said, thankfully he has something to show for it. He's the lucky one, right? Like people who buy into breaks often have nothing to show for it. People who open up boxes of cards, by and large, have nothing to show for it. And that's what's really scary. So if you're going to be an addict, at least buy Hall of Fame singles. I'm not saying that. I'm saying I kind of am, right? But at least, I mean, we talk about the most gambly of gambly things, and we have viewers who are breakers. We love you, Ziggy. We do. But breaking is gambling. It is. I think Ziggy even kind of acknowledges that. But breaking is gambling. Buying boxes and ripping them, at least you get something. But when you're getting 10% value back, and I watch Silver Sport every day, when you're getting 10% value back, that's gambling. If you're looking to get 10,000% back and you only get 10% back, that's you're defining. You're at the roulette wheel, my man.
Yeah.
That's what that is. So yeah. So
you have better odds at the roulette wheel.
Yeah, you really do. You really do. Rob and I were talking about roulette versus baccarat actually randomly, but yeah, baccarat, great, best odds in the house. But anyway, if I gambled anymore, which I don't.
Nobody knows how to play it though.
Right? It's really a weird game, but James Bond knows, and that's all you need to know about that. But yeah, so again, luckily, he has something to show for it that he could sell to make some of that money back if that was a financial situation for him. I think he's in the minority, boys. I think most people who are in this situation, they're ripping boxes and they're buying into breaks and they have nothing to show for it.
Can I just ask one more question to you guys? Like, hoarding has been a thing for a long time, and again, like buying stuff, like overbuying, shopaholicism has been around for a long time too, and eBay has been around also for a long time. How do they not have this feature built in where they can?
That's a really good point.
Like how have they been around for so long? How do they not have anything?
Yeah.
Where you just click a button and self-exclude for 60 days?
Because I'm sure there are people who buy other things, like
Yes,
all kinds of things that are in that same position. And unfortunately, we live in a society where corporations just get bigger and bigger and get more powerful and more powerful. And all they care about is making money. And unless they're forced to do something like that, they're not going to cut off the people that they're making money from. And Fanatics is doing the same thing with Fanatics Live. I feel like it's worse though, because they have a sports book,
right?
And they have Fanatics Live, and there's so many similarities behind the rush of doing that and how it's sold and marketed to you that I just find it disgusting that as a company that already deals with the licensing and the regulations and all the different laws of states, that they don't do anything. I'm not saying that makes eBay better or anything. They're giant companies that aren't going to bite the hand that feeds them, take away that money revenue. They count on people that are addicted to it, and they're not going to help them because they don't have to. And I wish we didn't live in a country where it was that way, but that's our free market. And unfortunately, I don't see it changing.
Yeah, I mean that's a really good point about eBay EP, that they're selling more than just cards. I will say, if you realize that you do have some sort of problem, Gamblers Anonymous is probably your best bet, which is a weird phrasing to say, but it's probably your best bet to go to Gamblers Anonymous. And I guarantee you, if you sit in there and, thankfully I've never had to, but if you sit in there and tell your story, I bet you it won't be that much different than people that went to the casino.
Yep.
I bet you it won't be. And which again is a weird thing to say, but again, seek help if you need it. And that's at the end of the day, that's all we can tell you to do. But because these corporations aren't going to change. We have to just acknowledge that. Like it sucks that they don't. And it sucks that we have to just look out for ourselves because these corporations are all about the money. At the end of the day, though, try and get help somehow, because it is a real issue. You can find yourself in such financial peril that, like you said, EP, and I think Mike did as well, someone was lying to their wife and might have lost their family, might have lost their house. But, like these little pieces of cardboard with pictures of men on them are fun. That's what it should be. But if you are trying to make it about, I got to get that next score, I got to get that next hit, you do have a problem and you need to seek help, and no one is going to help you. No eBay, no Fanatics, no anyone is going to help you. You got to do it yourself. And I would suggest trying to find some place to go, similar to Gamblers Anonymous, and probably Gamblers Anonymous is your best bet.
Yeah. And if you need help, there are a lot of places you can go to for like sports betting and gambling. So
that's another, that's
a place to reach out to, any place that deals with people who are addicted to sports betting, stuff like that. Like I said, this website that I read, they look at it the same way, and it's like same kind of
the smartest people on the internet.
Yeah.
They know it. They know that card collecting is the same as gambling. They know it.
I just said clip that shit to Joe's like what he said, like again, someone with personal experience, self-excluding from stuff like that, like clip that, share that with everybody, like that the bottom line is like that should be out there for people to listen to and follow like the advice.
All right, well, that was pretty heavy. We're running a little long on time, but it was worth it. But I want to have one more fun little thing I want to tell you
thank
guys.
God. I was hoping. I was really hoping you
we
were.
have something fun to send everybody
Jesus.
home with. We all know that Alexander Ovechkin broke the all-time goal scoring record this past week. He scored 895 goals. All kinds of memorabilia and souvenirs are being made about this. But one particular thing caught my eye. Apparently, Fanatics, you know them, right? They have secured. No, you got to listen closely.
If it's a jockstrap, I'm out.
No.
Okay.
It's better. They have secured buckets of ice from the rink that Alexander Ovechkin scored his 895th goal to be incorporated into products the company will sell. Now, I did a little more research on the internet. I'm trying to figure out if there are ways you can turn ice into something you can keep, and I found nothing. I found ways to keep ice from melting longer, keep ice if you don't have a freezer, but they have secured buckets full of ice shavings. I even saw the picture of it to use in products. And my mind is just, I have no idea what they're going to do with the ice. What are they going to do with it?
Fucking Panini. Is this Panini? No. Hold on. Let me drink some of that Ovechkin ice real quick before I.
Maybe. That'd be great. If they bottled it, melted it, purified it, bottled it. Maybe. But it would be water. It
would be water.
Put it in your freezer, though, then it would be ice again.
You got to keep your cards in your freezer, is what I'm hearing.
Keep the card in the freezer.
Yeah,
they're going to make a card with water in it that you put in the freezer and turns into ice. Oh my God.
You can refreeze it. That's going to be it. Yeah. I was thinking to myself, I think to the Allen and Ginter card that I have that has the sea monkeys in it. You can see the little window. You can see the sea monkeys, or the ones that have the dirt and stuff in it. I mean, those are sealed. So in theory, you could put water in there, right? So, I mean, and so then in theory, you could also take your card and put it in the freezer, and then you could have some of the ice.
Do you remember the Wave of the Future cards that used to have liquid? I'm not sure. What inside of it?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So how long? Where are they storing this ice? How long are they storing it? Who's making sure that's
freezer?
Who's making sure that it's the actual ice and somebody's not replacing the ice and stealing the ice and replacing with their own ice?
Is this ice not worn by any player or at any player event, or what's the wording? I need to know because if they do this for this, they're going to do it for everything. It's going to be ice and cards everywhere.
Did anyone get bloody? Was there a fight? Was there blood on the ice? Is there potential for blood on the ice? Also, what happens if they decide to make some Italian ice with it? Like, there could be a lot of different things going on.
Actually,
Hawaiian shave ice.
Yeah.
Here's a real question. What is Fanatics actually doing with it? They're not making cards because they don't have the hockey license. So what are they doing with this ice? Anyone know?
They're going to be incorporated in products they will sell.
They're gonna make more 8x10.
They're gonna make 8x10
photos with
absolutely.
Ice.
Yep. Absolutely.
I just hope it really isn't in Michael Rubin's freezer, because if he has another white party, people are going to be scooping that out into
that would be hysterical. Like Tom Brady is like, I'm drinking Ovechkin ice.
Ruben walks in and is like, oh shit, they used all the ice.
They used the ice.
Robert Kraft is over there. He's like with a shaved, like a snow cone. No, not that ice. Oh no.
Oh wow.
All right, guys. Thank you, Mike. Thank you. We needed that little lighthearted.
We will leave it there. I think that was a really good chat this week. I had a lot of fun. I think that was important. Again, if you have a problem, don't be afraid to admit it and try to get yourself some help, because we don't want to see you ruining your life.
So. And if you think you have a problem, like if there's even a hint in your brain, you probably do. You probably should look into it and think a little more on it.
If you're making excuses in your head, you have a problem.
Yeah. All right, guys. That was a very good chat this week. And I will see you next week. Take care, guys.
See you, boys.
Adios.